Today's video is sponsored by Native Sons Goods, makers of the highest quality woven guitar, bag, and camera straps you'll ever see. Native Sons straps are handmade one at a time in the USA with unparalleled love and care. Click the link in the description to check out their new expanded lineup featuring all new 3-inch guitar straps. And remember, when you support my sponsor, you support this channel, and I sure appreciate it.
Hey y'all, it's Shitpost Friday.
Hey, what's up lads and ladies? Brad the Guitologist here. It's time again for
Shitpost Friday.
I have a lot to talk about this Shitpost Friday. I did not do a Shitpost Friday last week, and anytime I do that, it seems like I have twice as much stuff to talk about. I wonder why that is. The first thing I wanted to talk about is this horrendous, atrocious thing that Gibson put up the other day. I guess it was last Thursday they put this up, and I would have probably not talked about it last Friday anyway because it was a bit late. It was kind of past my deadline by the time they put this up. But I just thought this was really interesting. Gibson put this weirdo video up about playing authentic. Mark Agnesi, their new head of, I don't know what he's head of. I think he's head of like brand relations or product relations or something like that. Anyway, he goes on this video and starts talking about Gibson has this long history and everything. The first minute or so of this video is fairly innocuous. You know, it's something you would expect from a Gibson video. He's talking about the history of Gibson, you know, fair enough. He's talking about some of the iconic innovations that Gibson has come up with, you know, absolutely fair enough. He starts talking about, you know, how Gibson played an important role in the development of rock and roll and that whole, the sound of rock and roll through the 50s and 60s, and again, fair enough. But then about a minute and a half in or so, it just really kind of goes off the rails, and I want to play you a little bit of this. Check this out.
Hey everybody, Mark Agnesi here for Gibson Guitars. And today, I want to take a few minutes to talk to you about originality and what it means to play authentic. People ask us a lot about forgeries and counterfeit guitars. Any copy of any one of those designs that we've named is, in fact, by definition, a counterfeit Gibson guitar. To the manufacturers out there, we want you to know that you've been warned. We're looking out, and we're here to protect our iconic legacy and the designs that we've created over generations. To all the people in the film and television and commercial industry, reach out to us. We want to work with you. Stop taping over the logos on the headstocks. By the way, that's not enough to get out of a trademark infringement anyway. Contact us. We want to work with you. We want to be partners with you. We want to help bring authenticity to your projects. And this isn't about us trying to be bullies or trying to stifle the boutique marketplace. This is about protecting our legacy. And it's our job, and we will continue to fight to protect our intellectual property. And to all the players out there, what does this mean? It goes back to what we started talking about, being original and playing authentic.
Okay, so a couple of things there. What I find very interesting about that is not only does it seem like, you know, one of the people above Mark Agnesi is like pushing him to say something about, you know, oh, hey, you know, you need to go after boutique builders. But it also seems like maybe they're pushing him to say some things about reaching out to TV and movie people, you know, producers or whatever, to not tape over the brand on the headstock. And what was interesting to me is he said something about taping over the brand on the headstock if you put a Gibson guitar in a movie or TV show is not going to save you from a trademark claim or copyright claim, which I think is a gross misunderstanding of the way that those things work. They have no grounds to sue anyone for showing a Gibson guitar on any kind of program. Nobody has to pay Gibson to show a guitar. That's not the way that works, which was just, it was just really interesting to me because it's more indicative of kind of Mark's sort of lack of understanding of basic laws surrounding things like trademark. You can't go after somebody just for showing your guitar. You could go after them for reproducing and selling the guitar, but if somebody on a TV or movie doesn't want to show the guitar, if they want to tape off the headstock, the reason they're doing that is because you haven't paid them. You know, Gibson hasn't paid them to put product placement in their movie or their TV show. That's the reason people tape those things off. It's not to avoid some copyright claim by you or trademark claim by you. It's the opposite. It's actually because you're not paying them to show your brand. So I don't know, maybe that's his way of reaching out and saying, hey, you know, we want to pay you from now on to show this thing, but it sounded more like a threat. It sounded, you know, especially in light of the former thing that he said, you know, about we're going to start coming after you. So you've been put on notice, you know, to any boutique builders or any other builders who are making Gibson-like guitars, which is very interesting because you know, courts have ruled repeatedly on this. I'm not a lawyer. I'm going to just throw that out there. Obviously, I'm no lawyer. I'm a bit of an armchair lawyer here. But from all I can tell and all of the case history on lawsuits for this type of thing, courts have repeatedly kind of upheld the guitar companies' headstock shapes, but they have not upheld companies and their claims for body shapes. And there's a really good reason for that. If you actually dig down on this and you examine the reasons for body shapes, the reasons that guitar body shapes are as they are, even when they switched over from like acoustic or semi-hollow acoustic instruments to full solid body electric instruments in the 50s, the reason that the shapes the way that they are with that waist and stuff in there is it's not all aesthetics. It is because you have to have a place, if you're sitting with a guitar, you have to have a place for the guitar to smoothly set across your legs, because the human body is shaped a certain way, so there's only so many shapes. And on the top as well, you have kind of a shape here that needs to be accounted for as well. So when you lean a guitar up against this shape, your body, you know, you have certain cuts that are going to feel right against the human body. So it's, you know, it's not just aesthetics at work here. It's the way that the human body is kind of shaped sort of dictates the way that the guitar should be shaped. And you know, furthermore, guitar shapes with the waist as it is dates back, you know, way before the Civil War era in the United States. You know, you had Martin and you had Ashbourne and you had, you know, I'm sure other smaller companies making guitars in the U.S., but you also had German makers had been making guitars for a long time. You, of course, had Italian makers who had been making guitars for a long time. French makers who had been making guitars for a long time in the 1800s with the waist, you know, that kind of general shape. So it's not like guitars can really be that many shapes and you can really put much of a trademark on them. So I think that's why the courts haven't really upheld body shapes like that. So the Flying V, I don't know. Maybe they could make a claim on the Flying V, but and you know, the Explorer perhaps. I know that, you know, a lot of other companies like PV has their version of the Explorer, for instance, and they do like slightly different things. And Ibanez has, you know, of course they were sued back in the 70s. And so they had to change their body shapes and things like that too. So, you know, it is possible that Gibson does have some claims that to their body shapes that would stand up in court today on some models. On others, maybe not so much. I don't know. I think it would depend on the particular judge, on the particular day, and it would probably also depend on the particular model that they're going after. So I don't know. I just thought it was really interesting. Not only were they going after boutique builders in a sense, but they also seem to be just really aggressively pursuing TV and film producers, which was just the weird thing to me. And how much of that is going to come over to the YouTube realm? It's like, okay, if you aren't authorized to talk about Gibsons or something, you know, on YouTube, then we're going to come after you or something. If you hold a Gibson, you know, and you're talking about us badly, we're going to come after you. That's just what it seemed like to me. It's like this corporate, just almost vampire-like mentality just sort of came out in the backlash that occurred. There were a couple of people who posted videos about this and caused Gibson actually to take their video down. They took it down. I think they posted it on Thursday, and they took it by Sunday night. It was gone, just had disappeared from the internet entirely. But one of these was from Big D Guitars, and I'll link his channel down below. But I visited his channel trying to find this video, and he was kind enough to send me a link to that. I'll put links also down in the description if you want to watch the full video and just be completely in awe of this train wreck. You can go check this out, but it's just it's unbelievable, really, especially considering, you know, what Gibson has been through in their really recent history, that they would feel just empowered enough to come forward this strong like this. But I think it really shows that they knew that they knew that they had screwed up pretty soon, because you know, like I said, within 2 days or so, they had pulled this video. This video has been re-uploaded to YouTube, and it's not going away. I'm sure it'll be there, probably haunting Gibson for years to come. I mean, is this just the first misstep in a series of missteps that we can expect from the new Gibson, or is this, is this just a little hiccup? Time will tell, but we'll see how they react to some of the criticism going forward. Okay, also in some late breaking news on this Gibson thing, Gibson is now suing Dean Guitars over alleged trademark infringement, that according to guitar.com. And this coming on the heels of what we were talking about with the Mark Agnesi video. Gibson thinks that not only are they infringing on trademark, but they're also suing them for, let's see, trademark counterfeiting, trademark dilution, and trademark infringement. So all three of those things carry different penalties and mean different things in court. And trademark counterfeiting is actually the most serious, because what Gibson is alleging there, according to this guitar.com article, is that they're trying to pass themselves off as Gibson, which clearly isn't the case, clearly isn't true. But what's interesting, when you look at the headstocks of Gibson versus the Dean headstock, nothing alike, even on the face of it. And furthermore, Gibson, you could take this idea that you invented the open book headstock shape and shove it up your ass, because I just was in a pawn shop the other day and saw a mandolin from 1880 that had the exact same headstock as your claimed Gibson trademark headstock. So, Orville Gibson did not invent that shape. He stole that as well. There were plenty of other instruments that I could cite, plenty of other instrument makers that used the open book headstock on everything from Neapolitan mandolins to guitars before Orville Gibson did that. So, I think you're way off base, way out of line on this one. Maybe you have a case with your Flying V. Maybe some court is going to give you the body shape argument. It hasn't worked for Fender for reasons that I mentioned, but the Flying V, maybe you've got a case there. I just don't know. But on this one, no, I don't think so. I very seriously doubt you're going to win on the headstock shape. And if you take this one to court, I'm going to actually bet that Dean cleans your clock, because you may never be able to sue anybody else by the time they're done with you over the shape of that headstock. Because, like I said, there's plenty of examples of open book headstock shapes before Gibson even came along. So I wonder what a court would think about that. Now, what it seems like to me is that this company, this investment company, KKR, has just come in, taken over Gibson, and is now using Gibson as a vehicle to go after anything it can find legally, any kind of money hidden under the couch cushions, before it probably ends up doing what it's going to do to the company, and what all vulture capitalists end up doing to companies like this. I don't think KKR is interested in making guitars. If they were interested in making guitars, they wouldn't make Mark Agnesi their little bitch to go make a video like they just made and start going after other guitar companies for dubious reasons, like the headstock shape thing. Okay, the headstock shape, you're way off base, Gibson, with the headstock shape thing. Again, maybe you've got an argument with your Flying V. Maybe. It would kind of depend on some precedent cases, but I would even probably root for you in the Flying V case, because, it looks to me like that's been an infringement for a long time. That isn't something Dean just up and decided to do. The only reason they feel safe doing it at all is because probably of past cases. But I very seriously doubt you're going to win on the headstock shape thing, and you're probably even going to hurt your chances for future lawsuits if you go after them on that basis. In other news, Guitar World is reporting that Tracy Guns and Phil Lewis, who were kind of founding members of the original LA Guns and recorded a lot of their early albums, have reunited for a new album, which is going to be out soon, and they already have a video out. You can check it out here. Sounds very, very Black Sabbath-ish. Yeah, very stoner metal kind of sound. You'll definitely enjoy it if you're into that sort of thing. But yeah, Tracy Guns, I think used to haunt this channel, used to comment and stuff a lot here. I don't know if it was the real Tracy Guns or not. It was an account for Tracy Guns, and I think he actually had some LA Guns related material also. So I think it might have been the real Tracy Guns. But anyway, Tracy, if you want to promote the new LA Guns album, just give me a call. And finally, in the week in stupid, we got this guy who decided he wanted to walk into a Guitar Center, walk to the back wall, pull a $1,600 Fender Stratocaster off the wall, and walk straight out without any intention of trying to pay for it. And then the dipshit walks straight to a pawn shop about 2 hours later, uses his own name and own social security number to pawn this guitar. I just don't even know what some people are thinking. It's not thinking. It's the drugs thinking for you, man. You've got to drop the drugs, dudes. Drop the drugs. They'll make you do stupid shit, as is evidenced here. Using your own name. He walked into a Cash America pawn within 2 hours. Used his own name and ID for the transaction. And he got $50. He got $50. Says a warrant was issued for his arrest and he was taken into custody Saturday, charged with felony theft over $1,000. He is free on a $1,500 cash bond, and he's scheduled to appear in court in July. What are the odds that this dude doesn't appear in court, that he tries to steal more guitars? What's really weird about this article is down at the bottom they have an ad for bail bondsmen, and look at the dude. Look at the dude in the bail bonds ad. It's almost like this dude is his own bail bondsman. He just shaved his head, different day, different job. He gets out on bail, bails himself out. I don't know what the deal is with this. Life's too fucking weird. Stop it. All right, that'll do it for the news. Okay, this first viewer mail package comes from Don Logan. If you guys will recall, a couple weeks back, Don Logan is the guy who sent me that box that was just chock full of magazines and catalogs, and we went through a few of the catalogs and just like determined that this dude had collected basically everything. And he sent me some more stuff. Got a letter here. I'll try to truncate this as much as possible. It says, I put the contents of this box together with two themes in mind. First, if you open the box from the address label side, you will find some random stuff I included to help fill up the box, as I had a lot of items that turned out to be too large to fit in the box. Maybe next time for that stuff. Hopefully you will not be too overwhelmed and will be able to generate some interesting videos. Thank you very much, Don. Man, this is just amazing. The time and effort that you've put into this to send all this stuff along is just, very much appreciated. From 1949, let's see, Wexler Jobbers catalog, Super OK and others. It's Xeroxes, but some cool stuff. Random stuff, no particular order. Okay, here's another 2-page color brochure from Jim Custom Guitars. Yeah, obviously some guys kind of piped up and informed me that, Jim Custom Guitars were who Steve Vai was working with to, sort of hash out his Jim guitars initially. So this is the origin of the Steve Vai Jim. So really cool to see these. Check that out. What's really insane is just how low budget, the catalog is, because look, it's not even cropped properly. Look, it's like they just kind of cropped around everything roughly. It probably cut down on the amount of color, they had to print, so it cut down on the cost of the printing, I would imagine. What an interesting model, though. I mean, with that shape, like it looks like flames. I guess those would be more like the Jim, right there, most likely. Yeah, that's very Steve Vai-ish right there, for sure. That paint scheme. There's the monkey grip right there. The funny thing about the monkey grip, that's not a Steve Vai invention. You can see that monkey grip on Teisco guitars from the 1960s. They had one model in particular that had that on there. I've actually owned one of those before. But yeah, very, very interesting catalog. Like I said, just really interesting because of the just the low budgetness of the photoshopping. I mean, they didn't have Photoshop back then, so everything's just really cropped kind of crudely. Hell, that might even be cut out with scissors. Jim Infinity, anything's possible. Funk me. You know, that might even be a famous guitar as well as that one. I'd be willing to bet that maybe even some of these that are in here might even be Steve Vai.
It's Shitpost Friday.
I know that Steve Vai has a website where he has archived all of his guitars in his guitar collection, and he does have some in there that are like this, that are the cloud with the lightning in them. So those would be original gems. That might even be the guitar that he owns. Yep, there's Steve, Bruno Revel, Spike Francis. If it can be done, we'll do it. Very cool. Yeah, just another one of those instances where, you know, Don sent off for this, obviously, and they sent it to him 1991. Well, I wonder when Jim went out of business. So it looks like we got some Martin electric guitars there. You definitely don't see those every day. We've got some Bill Lawrence. Bill Lawrence actually had guitars. Bill Lawrence guitars, really? I didn't know that. Were they Japan only? Maybe they were Japan only. Sometimes you get that sort of thing. You get a company that only does business in, you know, outside the U.S. or you know, in certain territories because of non-compete agreements and things like that. Like when Bill Lawrence does pickups for companies like Gibson, they may have made him sign like a non-compete agreement, so he couldn't compete inside the U.S. with any other of his products. And these are all Bill Lawrence guitars. Basically a lot of Strats and Super Strats, Telecaster copies. Wow. It's basically the entire Fender lineup just remade. What year is this? Bill Lawrence. And see, he's got his, there's his L500 pickup, his L250 single blade pickup. So you could order his pickups also, and they would come, I guess, stock in these guitars too. What year is this? Well, this is Japanese. This has got to be a rare catalog. 1985. 1985. So anybody who is in Japan, you know, or if you have one of these guitars, let me know that down in the comments. Do any of you guys own a Bill Lawrence guitar? Very interesting. Jerry Jane's guitars. That headstock is very reminiscent of Dan Electro. That's almost a direct Dan Electro ripoff right there. Kubicki Mini. Let's see, actual size fold out. Yeah, I'm just kind of doing an overview of a few of these things. I'm not going to do all of these in this video, but I definitely will come back and do these. Heritage, 1986. Yeah, this will be very early. This will be right around the time they formed as a company, if that's 1986. Cool. Here's a Hohner catalog. What do we got on the back? Oh, the whole thing is Hohner. That's a nice catalog. That's probably 70s. Oh yeah, he says it right there, 78. 1975 Hamer, are you serious? Cool. There's a Goya from the early 70s, he says. Man, okay, this is going to be another one, man. I'm going to, you know, I'm going to have to sit down when I get some major time and just start going through all of this stuff and then break it out into mini videos, you know, and just kind of drip feed it here and there in Shitpost Fridays or on Channel 2, and just sort of, you know, let a little bit out at a time, because this is going to be, I mean, look at it. It goes way down in there, and he's got all this stuff organized, and this is just amazing. You know, Don, same thing as last time, dude. I can't thank you enough for thinking of me when you decided you wanted to part with these things, because these are definitely going to stay. I'm going to keep all your notes in your archive. You know, the way that you've done this, I'm going to try to keep this together in this way for the most part. So that, you know, it's a resource. It's something that if people want to see certain things, you know, I'll have it. And some of this stuff might end up being very rare. And if it's never been published online, I'll try to go through it and publish it in the way that, you know, so people can see it, and so it'll be out there. So thank you again, Don, man. I really appreciate it. That is awesome. Okay, next up, it looks like I might have a couple of CDs here. So I thought I would also show this CD that this band gave me the other night. This was one of the opening bands for Tony McAlpine, but this band was there, and they were the opening act, Kill the Crown. I thought it was really kind of them just to hand me a CD. Cool cats. I sat out back with them for a good while and kind of shot the shit. And what was really cool and interesting, there were 3 different people at this show that just came up to me and said, "Hey, you're the Guitologist, aren't you?" And one of the guys was the guitar player for this band. Which was kind of cool. And I told him, I said, "Yeah, you're about the 3rd person that's asked me if I was the Guitologist." So it makes me feel good to know that, you know, my reputation precedes me in some way, you know. But yeah, thank you. Kill the Crown is the name of that band. Definitely go check them out. They had a lot of really cool riffy kind of songs, almost Metallica-ish, a lot of thrash influence, it sounded like. So yeah, if you're into that sort of thing, early Metallica, you know, Megadeth, even like some Trivium and things like that. The lead guitar player was really good. He had a lot of killer chops, and pretty tight band. I enjoyed their set a lot. This package is from Marvin. Okay, oh, you're the same fellow that I believe you're the same dude that sent me some stuff in the past. Yeah, you're the same. You sent me stuff in the past. I just can't remember your last name. Okay, here are instructions on how to apply water slide decal. So I think he sent me some decals. Okay. He said he had a few extra water slide decals, so here are these. So if I do any restorations or anything like that on some Fender stuff, I'll have a few decals. That's cool. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, those are usually fairly easy to apply. I've never actually done it on a guitar. But, oh, here's one with a serial number. Yeah, see, I would never do it to that extent to, like, fake something, to, you know, to make something look original or vintage. I mean, I would restore something, like if I had a vintage guitar, and let's say the logo was, like, almost completely scratched off and just looked bad. I might consider, replacing the logo or something like that on one that was real, but I would never do this and try to fake somebody out that it was I'd never use the serial number ones. But that is a scary thing, to know that stuff like this is out there, obviously, and it's gonna pop up every now and then, that you may end up being presented with something that you're gonna have to determine whether it's a fake or not. Based on your ability to spot these water decals. So, but yeah, I definitely thank you for sending me these, Marv. But, I just want my viewers to know I would never, I guess that's the guy where you can get them from if you want to get some. But I would never, ever use the serial numbers on anything, just because I would never want to represent something as something it's not. All right, guys, like I said, there's a lot of stuff that I had to get to this Friday, and I'm probably going to have a Channel 2 bonus video, so definitely go over to Channel 2 if you have not already and hit subscribe over there. And sometime this weekend, I should have a Shitpost Friday bonus video up over there for you guys to check out. So anyway, for now, y'all take care.